A reaction from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who's hailed the mother of all deals with the European Union. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said new avenues have opened up because of the India-EU FTA, and this deal will not just benefit India and the 27-member European bloc, but it will benefit the global community. The deal will help create quality jobs, mobility for our youth and our professional talent. And that's something that Ursula von der Leyen also spoke of when she said that there would be a gateway that is being created, India-EU gateway, a legal gateway office for Indian talent to move to Europe. And this includes students, researchers and highly skilled people, because our people are our greatest assets. Prime Minister Narendra Modi took to social media platform X to say this landmark deal between the second largest and the fourth largest economies of the world promises to create unprecedented opportunities and open new avenues of growth as well as cooperation. This deal will benefit the entire global community. It would help create quality jobs in key sectors, enable further mobility of our youth, professional talent, students and researchers, and unlock the potential of the digital age. Importantly, it will foster innovation, strengthen economic ties for mutual growth. Together, India and the European Union are moving ahead with trust and ambition towards a prosperous as well as a sustainable future. Listen in to Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he describes the India-EU deal as a partnership for global good.
हम साथ मिलकर आईमैक कॉरिडोर को ग्लोबल ट्रेड और सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट की एक प्रमुख कड़ी के रूप में स्थापित करेंगे। फ्रेंड्स, आज ग्लोबल ऑर्डर में बड़ी उथल-पुथल है। ऐसे में भारत और यूरोपियन यूनियन की साझेदारी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सिस्टम में स्थिरता को मजबूती देगी। इस संदर्भ में आज हमने यूक्रेन, पश्चिमी एशिया, इंडो-पैसिफिक सहित कई वैश्विक मुद्दों पर विस्तार से चर्चा की। मल्टीलेटरलिज्म और इंटरनेशनल नॉर्म्स का सम्मान हमारी साझी प्राथमिकता है। हम एकमत है कि आज के चैलेंजेस का समाधान करने के लिए ग्लोबल इंस्टीट्यूशंस का रिफॉर्म अनिवार्य है।
A partnership for global good. Professor Brahma Chellaney, we'd also heard this about India-US. This was a partnership that both countries had cultivated over 25 years for global good, post the Pokhran nuclear tests and the Kargil war. And, we've traveled that journey from NSSP to the current tensions. Now, do you see niggles even in India-EU, or this is far more reliable?
You raise a very good and fundamental question, Gaurav. Today, the EU and India have embarked on a shared project of economic resilience, strategic autonomy, and geopolitical balance. Like India, the EU is emphasizing the importance of strategic autonomy. But we should not forget the EU is an integral part of the Western bloc. There may be friction between the EU and the US today, but there's no structural or fundamental
Rupture.
Divide between the two. It's the tensions and the friction have been caused by a whimsical US president. His term is limited. Once he leaves office, things may again go back to where they were before the Trump era. We should not forget that traditionally the white nations have banded together.
Yes.
So while India is the bridge in a divided world, seeking partnerships with various powers, we also need to be careful in terms of projecting our own future. Our own future depends on resilience, on being able to absorb shocks of various kinds.
And
but
more
at the same
manufacturing.
time, at the same time, we should not shy away from building closer partnerships with different players, including the EU. The very fact
Absolutely. The last 30 seconds I have on this part of the show, Professor Chellaney, may I also draw your attention to India, EU talking about this, areas around the Indo-Pacific. Usually that was seen as a Quad subject, and specifically now India, EU are talking about this. So is the US retreating and EU moving in, or this is just tactical? Ultimately, the US would be back.
Well, it's only time will tell whether the US will be back, and certainly it has to be back because the Indo-Pacific is the core area for American interests. It's also a core to international security. The future of international security will be determined not in Europe, not in the Middle East, but in the Indo-Pacific. So for Indian security, European security, or for American security, the Indo-Pacific is pivotal to our future. But it's interesting that the EU today in New Delhi is represented also by the European Council President, Mr. Costa, who's an Indian European.
Yes.
He's a person of Indian origin. He's an OCI holder.
Yes. And he so proudly showed his OCI card. It was so heartening to see that. You're absolutely right. And, this is something perhaps we'll continue to talk about. I'm sorry I've run out of time on this part of the show, Professor Chellaney, but from the Indo-Pacific to the Arctic are areas where conversations will continue in the days, weeks and months ahead. But the Prime Minister and Ursula von der Leyen both have described this as a deal which will benefit not just the people of the two countries and blocs, but also a partnership for global good.